What's going on, guys? Welcome back to this week's first exclusive segment from the greatest podcast on turf. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Anthony.
And we got our first ever Dynasty SuperFlex, I believe, half PPR mock draft. This is our first ever Dynasty mock draft, so if we're a little inexperienced, be nice to us. We have done our research, and if you have any tips or if you have any comments that you think that we could have done better or that you're willing to argue, let us know in the comments.
Yeah, this is our first year for all of us. I mean, I can speak for both of us. We've been playing fantasy football for a long time. This is our first year doing a Dynasty League. So, like Ryan said, let us know what you think. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Real quick, if you're wondering why we're dressed up, go check my Twitter. Yeah, go check my Twitter. You'll see why. Let's get into it. We did the pick randomizer already before we got on air. Ryan got the 8th pick and I got the 9th pick. So we're right there back to back. I swear to God we did it random. So without further ado, Ryan's going to start the mock draft.
We definitely did this random because these are by far the worst picks.
Yeah. All right.
Shut that thing up. All the quarterbacks go pretty much right there like that. And we are stuck with a decision, right? It's a 2-quarterback league, SuperFlex, obviously. So, this is where it gets a little tricky, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do I want to take a Justin Fields? Do I want to take Jamar Chase to be my future receiver? It's tough. This is a really tough position. I'm going to end up going with Jamar Chase here, and I'm going to hopefully try to figure out the quarterback situation later. In Dynasty, you kind of have to make a decision about, what do you want to do. In my opinion, I could draft a super team here, trade my picks and get an early pick next year and get Caleb Williams, or I could just take 2 veteran quarterbacks and try to win it all this year. We'll just have to see how the draft falls.
Yeah, and I mean, here I am up at 9. Another tough call. I mean, there's 2 quarterbacks here. I'm high on both of these guys coming into this year, Trevor and Jay Fields. I could also go the direction of a Garrett Wilson or a B. John Robinson or even a CeeDee Lamb. Some of these young guys to be more of my productive pieces, guys that are going to be here for the long term, young skill players with high upside. But I think the way the board's gone, and with it being a super flex league, I think I'm going to go here with Trevor Lawrence, one of my favorite players in this league and one of my top quarterbacks this year. And here we are back in the 2nd round, which leaves me here. I could solidify my quarterback in my super flex with a Justin Fields. I could go with a more aging Christian McCaffrey, who's a stud still. Or I could go ahead and grab a receiver and kind of start getting in my production, that's not the right word, but like my productive positions, guys, week in and week out, that they're going to need to give me points. But with it being a super flex league and with the upside I already have with Trevor Lawrence and with Justin Fields still being here, I think I'm going to go ahead and solidify my quarterback positions, my 2 quarterbacks week in and week out, guys who can get it done in the air, guys that can definitely get it done on the ground running the ball as quarterbacks. So I'm very happy with how this draft started for me, solidifying my quarterback spots and being able to try and maximize the upside in my points per quarterback per week.
I would have taken Justin Fields there for sure if he happened to fall to me. Unfortunately, he is not, and I will have to pivot somewhere else. I'm going to go receiver here. I think that they have the longest tenure that will be on your team. So it's between a Garrett Wilson, an Amon-Ra, or Jalen Waddle. I'm going to go ahead and take Jalen Waddle here. I think he has the highest upside of the 3. With Jamar Chase and Jalen Waddle, I got 2 of probably the best receiving core so far. The problem is I don't have any quarterbacks to show for it. So I'm in a little bit of trouble. We're just going to see what happens to fall to me and then make the decision there. Back up. Dakota Prescott is there.
Yup.
To be my quarterback 1. He's a little bit old. I do understand that. 29. Overall, he's been pretty healthy. He did have that ankle injury, obviously. But other than that, I'm pretty sure he's played a lot of his career. Yeah, he's played a lot of games. With it being a super flex league, I don't think I can afford to not take him. I really don't think I can. He's been about a top 10 quarterback every single year. I think I got to. I'm taking Dak Prescott here to be my quarterback 1.
Yeah, and here I am up on the board. Got some big names at the top. Diggs, obviously, stud, probably top 5 receiver. Austin Eckler, who's been one of the best running backs in fantasy football the past few years. You got one of my personal favorites, T. Higgins, a guy who I've had in at least 2 fantasy football leagues every year since his rookie year, and he's never really let me down. Got an aging Cooper Kupp on a terrible Rams team. Kenneth Walker in a timeshare. I mean, those are about the top 5 positions. With the amount of big name receivers still on the board and that will be on the board at my next pick and possibly the pick after that, I'm going to go ahead here and grab an Austin Eckler. Yes, I know he is 28 years old, little up there for the age of running back, but as much as I hate the Chargers now and as overrated as Justin Herbert is, the check down king, I'm going to go ahead and grab Austin Eckler. I just think the production's too high, and I don't really... You know, I said I wasn't taking any Chargers. I got to go with my guy. I don't want to miss out on him. I'm going T. Higgins. Been productive every year. Yes, he's in the same receiving room as Ryan's boy Jamar Chase, who he grabbed in the first round. But he's produced year in and year out. Yes, this is a gamble with the trade rumors being around and with him not being on his next contract yet. So that could benefit me or that could really hurt me in terms of where it gets traded to. But T. Higgins is a guy, one of my personal favorites year in and year out. Never let me down. And the guy's been a stud since he's been in the league, even with Jamar Chase there. Then I'm back up here. I'm going to go ahead here, call it what you want. I'm really high on this guy, especially in Dynasty formats. The guy was a stud last year on his team, especially in the playoffs. It really came around. I'm going to solidify my receiving core and grab Devontae Smith, guy that produced with A.J. Brown, very fast, still young, has very big upside. As A.J. Brown gets older and the contract moves on and Jalen Hurts continues to develop the connection with Devontae Smith, it's only going to help me in the long run.
I don't really like this spot right here, if I'm being completely honest. Actually, I hate it. I'm not taking Eckler by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not taking Kenneth Walker because who knows what the hell is going to happen there. I could take a Cooper Kupp and hope that he comes back right, and that would be to sell out for this year. Which, when he does play, he averages about 30 points a game, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I'll definitely be going for this year's win.
Just win year one, set the tone, and rebuild.
Could do that.
Yeah, it's a tough spot here because the top of the board is...
The problem is I didn't get a quarterback, and that's like really what sucks for me.
Yeah, I mean...
I'm going to go ahead and take Cooper Kupp. I understand. I know he is banged up. I know this might not be the best pick. You know, if my team wins games and I can make a championship run, I'm going to keep him. If I start to lose games, I can dump him off at the trade deadline and get first-round picks and turn it into Caleb Williams pretty easy. So that's what we're doing. When you pick late, it's kind of hard to get the quarterback that you want. You know, I could have got Trevor. I decided not to. Might regret it later, but right now, we're just going to keep seeing what we can do. This is why we mock, you know?
This is why we mock. Bringing it back.
Correct. Next pick, going with my best running back on the board. Not Derrick Henry. Tony Pollard. He is 26 years old, but in terms of carries, he's probably 23, 22. He's always split the work with Zeke. He doesn't have that much carries under his belt, and for Dallas, he's going to be killer.
Yeah, and here I am. We're both kind of at the point now where we haven't really prioritized running back, and here we are. Got guys like Ramondre Stevenson. I would love to have him here in a redraft league. Ramondre Stevenson here is probably good value, and he's going to be a good player this year. But in terms of Dynasty, just with what the Patriots kind of do at running back and how they just develop and cycle through guys, it's probably not good for the long-term plans to grab a guy like Ramondre Stevenson.
The way your team's built, you're a long-term guy.
Yeah. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead here and grab a guy again. Could make the same argument for the reasons why I'm not drafting Ramondre Stevenson with this guy. But this is more of a within this year and next year, try and get the most out of him, and that's Dameon Pierce. Got a Texans team with a brand new rookie quarterback. young developing offensive line, and teams with rookie quarterbacks kind of tend to use the running back a lot because they're running the ball and throwing a lot of check down. So I think that's going to help me here. And then with my next pick here, I'm going to go ahead and grab a guy who I'm extremely high on going into this year. He's a year. This will be a full year recovered from the knee injury and any of the other lingering injuries, and that's J.K. Dobbins. I think he's going to have a giant impact on this Ravens offense now that they got Lamar back. They got some throwing pieces, and I think now that they have Zay Flowers and Odell in the receiving room, I think it's going to open up the field and spread the field a lot more for the Ravens to run the ball more and to get J.K. Dobbins more involved like he was his rookie year.
Back to decisions. Derrick Henry's here. I could just commit to going for the chip this year, move on with my life, sell out for the chip, build around Chase Waddle in the future. Or I could grab a Ramondre Stevenson. I think I'm just going to lock up the chip this year and then try to get some late pieces at the end and, potentially build a future that way. I know I might be struggling in the future. I get that. I really do. But the way this draft is falling to me, I don't want a bunch of bad young guys on my team.
Yeah.
So, and I know these guys aren't bad, but I don't like it. I wanted Daniel Jones here. It didn't happen. Derrick Henry's the pick.
You and I have like the top of the 2021 NFL draft class.
Yeah, I hate this.
I'm kind of happy with my team. I don't love my running backs, but I'm happy with the way it started.
The best picks, in my opinion, are like 1 to 6, 1 to 5.
Yeah.
Where you can get Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Hurts, and Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
And then, it's just so much easier over there. It really is. Your spot isn't bad because you got 2 quarterbacks locked up.
Yeah.
My pick's back.
There's 2 guys I really want here, but there's no way I'm getting both of them.
Trying to look. I'm going to play the ADP game. Get a little cute with it. Probably going to bite me in the ass, but it happens all the time and whatever. I'm going to take Joe Mixon. I'm committing to the chip right now.
It's not where I thought you were going.
I'm committing to the chip.
Now this is tough because there's 4 guys I really, really want here, but I only have 2.
Who are the 4 guys? They're not going to come back to you. So
Rachaad White, Pacheco, George Pickens, and Calvin Ridley. Now, in terms of
the guys that I want right now. So.
What'd you say?
So none of the people I'm looking at right now, so that's good.
And Brandon Ayuk. Now, in terms of the value and dynasty format, Calvin Ridley's probably the lowest priority just because he is older, hasn't played football in a year, and he's on a new team.
Correct.
With the way the running backs are, you got Rachaad White, who's going to be in Tampa Bay, who's a rebuilding team with Baker Mayfield, a quarterback, and a bad offensive line.
My opinion, I don't know if you wanted it, it's probably Ayuk, in my opinion.
That was the pick.
My bad.
No, you're good. Then you got an Isaiah Pacheco, who's on the Kansas City Chiefs, who really bursted on the scene last year and had a great run down the stretch. But with longevity and running backs and with what the Chiefs do, it just kind of might not be the way to go. George Pickens, obviously, in Pittsburgh, kind of a crowded receiver room. Their offense is weird. So, with that being said, as Ryan took the words right out of my mouth, Brandon Ayuk's the pick. Brandon Ayuk is a guy, young, receiver one upside. When Christian McCaffrey joined the 49ers last year, Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel had almost borderline identical target shares. And Brandon Ayuk has the ability to be receiver one. He's just been in the offense with Deebo. And as Deebo's really had battled injuries, Ayuk stepped up at times. I know that their quarterback situation's shaky, but I think with whether it is Trey Lance or Brock Purdy, Brandon Ayuk will produce. And I'm back up here. My receiving room, I'm loving T. Higgins, Devontae Smith, Brandon Ayuk. Running back room is leaving some to be desired. I'm going to go ahead here and go with my safest running back. I'm going to go ahead and grab Isaiah Pacheco here. Young, it'll be his second year in the Chiefs. He was heavily involved in the offense, and the guy's a stud, and he runs really hard. And I think that he's going to continue to get a lot of carries in the Chiefs offense just with now that they have proved that they have a solid run game and a good offensive line. So I think that they're going to try and run the ball with him a lot this year. And in terms of dynasty, he's super young, so I love that value in the 8th round here.
My next pick, I'm going to go ahead and grab my second quarterback here. It's between Kirk Cousins and Jared Goff. Kirk Cousins is 34. He is better than Jared Goff fantasy-wise, most likely, and he probably fits my team better right now, but I'm going to lean Jared Goff in this one. He's 6 years younger. He's on the Lions team that is definitely upgrading.
Kirk Cousins is 34?
Yes.
Holy shit.
I didn't realize that, but yes, he is 34.
Wow.
Jared Goff is on the incline. He finished as the QB10 last year. He's without Jameson Williams for a chunk of the season, so I might be in a little bit of trouble, but once he gets Jameson Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs gets, a little bit more NFL ready. Sam Laporta gets NFL ready. With the stud offensive line, I feel like Jared Goff's going to have a decent fantasy season to be a pretty decent quarterback, too, for me.
Yeah, if you don't win the championship this year, you are beat.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks. Thanks for that one.
Jahan Dotson in the 9th, I like him. Rashad White back-to-back.
Kamara went right before me. I was going to commit, too. Damn.
Dude, you totally were.
Oh, shit. I was definitely going to
I was going to say, the way Dynasty works, you can either build your team one of two ways. Long-term, kind of how I'm doing, grab some young guys that'll produce but only get better. Or the Ryan Sawyer's team approach with you sell out to win a championship within the first 2 years and then you get ready to rebuild and have to make a lot of moves.
And I think, it depends on your draft board. If you just get in a situation where it forces you to do it, you just do it. You know what I mean? It's just the name of the game. It's just what happens. It's what you got to do.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of QBs.
A lot of QBs.
Bad running backs.
There's one running back that would just complete the just going for it now.
Which one? I'm looking at like two.
Is there any receivers here? D-Hop, Mike Williams, Mike Evans.
Sell out.
I'm selling out with Aaron Jones.
So I was,
I mean, we're committed at this point. Aaron Jones is 28. I might have 2 or 3 more years out of him. If I win the chip this year, I trade the team next year.
Yeah.
And I'd go get Caleb Williams. Or no, I would have to trade him this year to get Caleb Williams. Or whatever. I'm committed.
I mean, and I'm at the point now where it's not really looking good for the way that I'm styling my team. I mean, there's some young tight ends here. Dalton Kincaid, Pat Freiermuth, Michael Mayer, Sam Laporta, like Ryan said. But tight ends are like, a good tight end is so hard to come by. I'm at the point now where I'm just going to just start grabbing guys I think that'll fit my team and my build. Call it a reach, call it what you want, but I'm in this for the long run, this one mock draft that has nothing to do with my life. And I'll probably never look at it again, but I'm fully committed. So the receivers here, I don't love D-Hop. If he goes to New England, I'll draft him just because. F the Chargers. Deontay Johnson sucks. Kadarius Toney's too big of a question mark. So with all that being said, I'm going to go ahead here. This is kind of a weird pick for my team. I'm going to go Alexander Madison, RB1 in Minnesota. Guy's been a stud every time that Dalvin Cook has been injured or hasn't played. And that helps my running back room a lot, especially this year, because I have kind of some question marks in terms of my running back room. And then,
This is also only 15 rounds. Not sure we said it. Dynasty drafts are usually a lot longer, but we're just doing this for the time constraints that we have.
Yeah, I didn't want to bring you guys an hour and a half mock draft video just talking about...
Can't give away all our secrets.
Talking about Cedric Tillman and Kayshon Boutte.
Justin Ross.
Yeah, exactly. This is really a tough pick for me. Worried about the 10th round. I'm going to go ahead and take a chance here on Dalton Kincaid. Little bit. I mean, this is some solid value based off his ADP. The potential's there. Jared Goff. Josh Allen really looked for a tight end a lot last year. I feel like when I watched the Bills, and Dawson Knox just really wasn't there. He couldn't get the separation. He wasn't crisp on his routes. Yeah, he was a red zone monster at times, but I think Dalton Kincaid brings a lot of athleticism to the table, and I think he spreads the field, and I think he'll be able to get open, and they'll be able to do more with him, kind of similar roles to what we see with Mark Andrews and Travis Kelce, and even like a Darren Waller kind of have type of impact on the offense. So I'm taking a gamble here at tight end. You missed out on Travis Kelce and Mark Andrews. So after that, it's kind of just throw a dart at the dartboard. But these young guys are like the bigger name tight ends.
Unfortunately, I'm committed.
Where are you even going with this?
Darren Waller.
All right.
That is the commitment right there.
I really like Darren Waller in terms of a redraft league this year just because Daniel Jones, another quarterback that was really looking for some tight end help last year and just couldn't get it. So in terms of redraft, I love Darren Waller, but for Dynasty, it's like,
For my next pick, I'm going to start, going a little bit younger here, right? It's a SuperFlex league. We're in the 11th round where you can afford to throw a dart at the wall here. And that's what we're going to be doing with Jordan Love.
Yeah.
I get it. He might suck. I understand completely. But he's also a 24-year-old quarterback. He could replace my 2. He could just be a filler if somebody's on a bye. He could be the answer in Green Bay. We don't know yet. But right now, he is my start-to-go youth type of situation. Dart throw at a quarterback. And in my opinion, he could be just as good as, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Derek Carr. Geno Smith's probably going to be a little bit better than him this year, but he could be with those guys.
Yeah, and this is a super easy pick for me. I'm going Elijah Moore here. Young receiver in Cleveland that needs some receiver help. They need some speed in the receiving room, and they got it. We saw how much success Deshaun Watson had in Houston when he had speedy guys like Will Fuller out there. So, bringing in Elijah Moore, trading a second-round pick for him, shows they're high on him, and it shows that they're going to try and use him for full potential. They have a good amount of capital invested in him to the point where they can't not get him involved. We're here in the 11th round. My receiving room's set. So, being able to have a guy like Elijah Moore on my bench with the upside he has makes me very, very happy. And we are at the point now where it's just throw a dart at a dartboard and see what happens. I'm all in for the young and the upside and the potential. Say what you want about the guy. I think the potential's there. I'm going Brian Robinson for Washington. Didn't bring in another running back, I don't think, in the draft or invested. They didn't invest a lot in running back. So it shows they're still set on Brian Robinson and or Antonio Gibson. So I feel like that in the 12th, have him for the long term ain't bad. Maybe he is going to break out this year.
Next pick. Kind of want to start the youth trend a little bit because I know where I'm going to go with the next pick after that. I'm going to take Rashee Rice here. His upside in Kansas City is, a lot. He's 6'2". He could be the alpha in Kansas City with Juju going. It could be Sky Moore, and I could be, wasting a pick. I don't think so. It could be Justin Ross. I don't think so. They need somebody to be the wide receiver, too, with Travis Kelce being the number 1, technically.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and take Rashee Rice here, rookie in Kansas City. If Pat Mahomes likes him, why can't I type of situation. I know my next pick if he gets to me.
Yeah, I know my next 3 picks.
Right now, as my team is constructed, the starting lineup set and the bench spots that have Jordan Love and Rashee Rice. Part of me, as the commitment is taking place, I want to have a backup that can go in for somebody because I need to win games, right? I need to win games this season.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, I need a couple veterans just on my bench. Brandon Cooks is 29 years old. It feels like he's been in the league for 30 years. He hasn't. He's only 29.
Yeah.
He has a couple more years left in him. He can be a very solid bench piece for me as the wide receiver 2 in Dallas. That's my pick there.
So here I am back up.
And we are at this point.
Yeah, we are.
We are here.
Yep. Well, it's tough. The quarterback's on the board. There's some solid options. If you want to win now, you go ahead and grab Geno Smith and you don't think anything of it. In terms of the long term, Brock Purdy sticks out like a sore thumb, but there is the controversy going on between him and Trey Lance, who's going to be the starter. If you believe in a Desmond Ridder or a Sam Howell, them being here this late, you go ahead and grab them.
Geno Smith isn't that old.
How old is he? Like 32?
He's younger than Kirk Cousins.
That's cool. That is ridiculous to me. But the way the board is, again, I said I'm going out and getting my guys. I'm taking John Mechie. John Mechie, I think he could be really good with C.J. Stroud. He was one of the best receivers in college football a couple of years ago when he was drafted. Fell in the draft a little bit just because how heavy that receiving class was. And you know what? Why the hell not? keeping the team young, I'm getting Brock Purdy. If he's a starter, I have 3 starting quarterbacks on my team. It's perfect. Could use it as trade bait. Could use it to get some pieces. And then running back, if you think about running back rooms a little thin, stuff like that. So being able to grab Brock Purdy this late with the potential of him being the starter is good value.
My next pick, I'm going Tajay Spears here. I have Derrick Henry getting his backup. We're going a little bit young here. We got 2 rookies on the squad. And like I said, I mean, there's a lot more picks in this if it's a real dynasty.
Yeah.
And, you know, there'll be guys that can fill out my team better. Like Jared McKinnon, I'd probably end up with my team somewhere.
Some P around another guy.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you know, we're not drafting him here because, you know.
And again, it is mid-June. I'm sure we'll be putting out more fuller and deeper dynasty mock drafts as the time goes on. But this is the first one of the year. Just feeling it out and putting out some mock draft content for you guys because fantasy football season is almost back.
Basically is back. Next up, going receiver here. Going with the youngest guy here with the potential. You know, I could grab a Michael Thomas and really just commit to the just sending it. Not doing it. Mondale Robinson. Could be the answer in New York. I don't know.
Yeah, with my final pick here, I'm going with a guy with some potential. He was a pretty high pick a couple of years ago in the draft. Trey McBride, tight end for the Cardinals. Yes, they have Zach Ertz, and yes, we do know the injury deal with Kyler. But having a tight end, Trey McBride, they took him in the second round a couple of years ago. He was involved in the offense when Zach Ertz got hurt, but we didn't really see what he could do because Kyler got hurt also. But the potential's there. I got some young tight ends. And now for my favorite part of the mock draft, who has the best team?
It's hard to kind of do this with the fact that it's a dynasty and everybody could be going for different things. Team 1 is looking okay. They're looking all right. Team 2, I don't really like Team 2. I think the receivers are not the best. Team 2 sucks.
Yeah.
That's just right. Team 2 is bad. Team 3, receivers aren't good. I don't really like Team 3.
Not at all.
Team 4, Garrett Wilson, Christian Watson, Terry McLaurin, Jameson Williams, Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk, I think, is a good pick at the 9. They got Barkley. They got Dalvin Cook. Running backs, you know, they have a low shelf life. So it kind of could make sense to get those 2, and you can replace them quick. Kyler Murray isn't going to play this year that much, so that's kind of what's holding me back on Team 4.
Yeah.
Team 5, Jay Jettas, Amon-Ra, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jacobs Harris. It's very solid.
Yeah.
Team 6, Lamar, Bryce Young. Eckler was a bad pick by them with how they did this. They have 4 rookies that I can see right off the bat.
Yeah.
And Eckler does not fit that team. 7, Herbert, McCaffrey, Olave. I don't think Olave really fits, or I don't think McCaffrey fits this team. Yeah, McCaffrey just doesn't fit the team. Well, McCaffrey and Kamara fit, but then, you know, CJ Stroud and Jordan Addison kind of stick out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
They're a win now team. And the problem is my team would kill them.
Yeah.
So, Team 8, I'll let you, I guess, talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, clearly, like we kind of alluded to the whole draft, you're ready to win within this year or next year, maybe even 3 years from now. You grab some young pieces at the end that could help you in the long run, but you are ready to win now, and you probably have really good odds to win the championship in terms of this year alone, just because a lot of these other teams kind of drafted like a mix of how me and you did it. Like you and I were polar opposites, and a lot of these other teams were dead middle of the pack and how they drafted young, old guys like that. So, I mean, like I said, Dynasty is really one of 2 ways. Ryan took the win now approach, and I took the long-term winning approach.
Yeah, Dynasty, you're either contending or you're rebuilding. You don't want to be stuck in the Saints range.
Yeah, I mean, you got Ryan, who was like the Buccaneers a couple years ago, and you got
or the Rams this year,
yeah,
or last year.
Or you got me, who's like
the Lions, I guess.
The
Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yup, just a bunch of young guys draft picks. There we go.
Anthony's team at pick number 9 got 2 of the best young up-and-coming quarterbacks in the league. Trevor Lawrence lock him down for 15 years, and Justin Fields should, as long as he stays healthy. He does run the ball, so that's the concern with him. T. Higgins at the 3rd round, beautiful to be your wide receiver 1. I think that's pretty solid. Devontae Smith, I like that pick because there was nobody else there that was better than Devontae Smith. Yeah, that was a good pick. Dameon Pierce, I didn't love it.
Yeah,
I think I would have went with Ramondre over him. I think. I just don't love the Damian. I don't love it. I don't know why. I just don't.
It's fair.
Because I feel like there's a chance he could suck. You know? J.K. Dobbins, stud, as long as he is healthy, which he should be a year after.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon Ayuk, great pick. Pacheco should be a good pick. I like Pacheco. Madison has the keys in Minnesota, and they gave him a decent contract, I believe.
Yeah.
So with that decent contract, he should be good. Dalton Kincaid is great for his team in the future. Elijah Moore, solid. Everything else is pretty solid. He went young, and I respect it.
Yeah.
Team 10, CD, Bijan. Bijan's a good pick. I would have took Bijan in the second.
Yeah.
Danny Dimes, Kenny Pickett, that's where, they're weak at quarterback, and that's going to end up costing them. They have 3 amazing receivers, only 1 amazing running back, a great tight end.
Yeah.
I would say I'm probably winning the chip this year, maybe next year, and then you'll probably win until I catch up to you again.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, if I walk away from a Dynasty draft with my team, I'm extremely happy. I don't love my running backs, but that's why it's Dynasty. You make trades and shit like that. That's the fun of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment below any tips, tricks, advice, arguments, debates you guys have, any questions you want answered, and we'll see you guys, I think, tomorrow.
See ya.
Peace.